Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. And what we're going to make is a coffee cake. This particular coffee cake is made with yeast, so it is a bit more work, but it's well worth it. Now, I always make my yeast coffee cakes with my bread maker on the dough cycle. You certainly can make this coffee cake and the dough by hand if you prefer to do so. But it's easier for me, and I like the results that come off the dough cycle of my bread machine. Now, on your bread machine, or if you prefer to call it bread maker, you should have one that at least makes 1.5 loaves, 2 loaves, perhaps, because you're going to use 6.5 cups of flour. So that's a lot. So I do want to, tell you that off the bat. Now I'm going to give you the recipe ahead of time. I no longer, and I'm sorry about that, I don't put the ingredients and the recipe below the video due to so many people taking videos, claiming they're theirs, moving them to different sites, and it's very frustrating for me. So I have at least temporarily stopped doing that on all my videos. So I'm going to try to clearly, give you the recipe that you can write it down and get it from me, okay? You're going to start off with 2 cups of water. Warm water, and you really do want to have it at about 110 degrees Fahrenheit. I actually do my water in the microwave, and it works out very well, but you decide however you want to heat your water and how you want to heat it. You're going to use a 1/2 cup of granulated sugar. You're going to need 2 packages of dry active yeast, 1 tablespoon of salt, and I know that does sound a lot, but this is what this recipe calls for, and it really does come out a beautiful coffee cake. You need 6.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 eggs, which go ahead and beat them, ahead of time. And you're going to need 1/3 cup of either melted butter or melted margarine, or if you prefer shortening, the solid shortening, you want to melt it all. And again, I melt it actually in a cup and put it in my microwave and let it cool down a little bit. Now, on your bread maker, follow the directions when it tells you when you put your water and your dry ingredients, because all makers are so differently. So do, follow that, okay? Now this particular coffee cake I'm using, you can use jelly, you can use jams, you can use preserves. I'm actually using cherry today, but you can change it up to whatever flavor you want. If you want to do half preserves and half jelly, you can do that for a filling. You can do so many things with it. Now, you will grease your pan also ahead of time. Now, I'm going to show you what the dough looks like once it comes out of your dough maker, and you can see how very large this is. It's a very nice dough to work with. It's not too sticky. It has a nice elasticity to it. Now, you can actually get 2 coffee cakes out of this if you just cut it in half like this, and then just set that aside. Put your towel, your clean towel, over it till you need it, okay? Now, what I did is I actually made one of these where I didn't split it, but I'm going to show you that in just a little bit. And the reason that I do it for that is when I'm bringing it, like say to the church social, or there's a lot of people coming over, you have a lot of company coming over, and you need, a larger cake, that kind of thing. But otherwise, the 2 of them bake up really nice. Now, what you'll want to do is you want to try to make a rectangle out of this as best as you can. And you don't have to really, you know, fuss with it too much. You do want to roll it out to about 1/4 of an inch, that kind of thing. You can kind of see the size of it. It's probably about 12 by 14. Okay, let me move that rolling pin so you can see it. And it doesn't have to be, you know, completely perfect. Now, for the two, a total of 12 ounces of your filling is what you're going to need. Now, you might find that you feel that that's too much or too little. Well, you know what? Just go ahead and decide that for yourself. Try to just use a knife or like a spoon. Leave the edges at least about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch. Leave them dry, because when you start to roll it up, you'll see it can get a little messy. So you don't want it too close to your edges, but you do want to distribute it as evenly as you can, okay? And then we're going to take the long side to roll it up jelly roll style, okay? And again, you're going to get 2 coffee cakes out of this unless you want to make one big one. I'm going to roll this way so that hopefully you can, you know, see it being done by the camera. And then I kind of just push a little bit under it. And just keep rolling it. If you find and you think you've got too much, just take it out with your spoon. It's no big deal. If you feel like you don't have enough, just add it. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, if it just looks like it's too much, just take a little out. Okay, and then I'm just going to pull that over and then just start to seal your seam. Give it a little tug and pinch it. And then you might have your own way of closing. I actually just do mine like I'm rolling, like I'm wrapping a package. I fold it in, then I fold it up, and then I give it another fold. Okay, so again, if it just kind of oozes out a little bit, just remove it with your spoon. And I just, like I said, I do mine like I'm wrapping a package with wrapping paper. Okay, now if you want to just bake this like a roll, you can certainly do that and just make small little cuts on the top of it. Don't go all the way through, just go really small light cuts every so often in intervals if you want to do that. To make the ring, of course, I'm gonna lift this onto my pan and then just start getting it into a circle, of course, and make a ring out of it, and then just seal the edges together with your fingertips. For many of you that bake breads and coffee cakes, I'm sure you have a better way of doing it and what have you, okay? But this works for me, okay? Now, what I also like to do is I take an egg wash and I put an egg wash over this. Now, you can put it on before it's going to rise or after, but I just do that. I just cover it because it kind of really makes it look nice and brown when it bakes up, okay? And then, of course, you're going to need a clean towel to cover that till it is double in size. And that might take you 45 minutes. It might take you an hour. I have a little bit of a little hole there, so I want to just patch it over with a little piece of dough there. It might take you, like I said, it might take you an hour. It might take you only 45 minutes. This dough is quite delicate, so you got to be really careful because, you can tear it so easily. So that's why I'm just doing a kind of a little patch job there on the dough here. Okay, there. That'll do it. Okay, so cover it with a clean towel. Put it in a warm area of your kitchen. Wait till it's double, and then you're going to bake it at 350 degrees, and it's going to take you anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. Let it sit on the cookie or baking tray for a few minutes before you lift it to a cooling rack, okay? And as I said, it really does make two nice size coffee cakes. So let me rinse my hands here real quick. And I would like to show you what this cake looks like, coffee cake, once it's baked up. Okay? So I just want to grab hold of it to show you. Now I made a sugar glaze for it. With just powdered sugar. You can use milk, you can use water. Make it to the consistency of how thick or thin that you want it. Start off with, say, a half a cup or 3/4 of a cup of powdered sugar, and then add your liquid to how thick you want your glaze. And then I just put some colored jimmies on the top. But I don't know if you can see how beautiful this coffee cake bakes up. Now this is a very large cake. It's going to be smaller than the coffee cakes that I just showed you. But again, if you're having to serve this for a large group of people, I generally can get 24 servings out of it. It's really great when you need a larger coffee cake because, like I said, it's at a church social or your family's coming over or whatever. If this is too much, too large, then just go ahead and make the two as I just showed you just a few moments ago. Okay, so let's cut into it. And like I said, you really, it's amazing how, large, especially if you're having a lot of people over, and you do need a larger coffee cake. Okay. And it will come out just beautiful. This is actually a little bit warm. So it's a little bit quick for me to be cutting this. But I don't know if you can see how light it melts in your mouth. It is not a heavy, dense coffee cake, that you just pick it up and it weighs a ton or something. You think, oh, I don't want to eat that. And I'm going to just squeeze on this, and I hope that you could see how it, that it springs back. It's just a delicious coffee cake. And let me take a fork and maybe, to show you just the crumb on this, how it's pulling away, how light and how delicate and airy this is. It just makes for a great tasting coffee cake. You decide what you want to put in the filling of it. And like I said, the most time it really takes is just waiting for it to become the dough on your bread maker or on the dough cycle. So I hope you like this recipe. Now, if you do try this recipe, well, leave a comment because I always like to hear from you. But this is the part where I tell you, please watch me solely on YouTube because that's the only place where my videos are supposed to be. And what's frustrating is when you write to me or have a comment or have a question. Many times I have found where my videos have been taken, I can't answer you. It is so frustrating for me. But if you watch me on YouTube, I'm going to get your message. I'm going to get your question or your comment. So just as a quick reminder, if you're so inclined and you want to subscribe to the channel, boy, I'd really appreciate it. If you want to give me a like or ring the bell, that's great too. I appreciate, all of you that watch Diane Lovetobake. I really do. And I hope that you enjoy my recipes. So I want to thank you again for watching Diane Lovetobake only on YouTube, and I'll see you soon.